Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Heist League 3.12. In this episode, I'm going to be going over the 3.13 Game Balance Manifesto. So this is the balance manifesto for the new season coming up. We already know what they're going to be changing. So this is absolutely insane because we see things regarding race specters, my They of Tul specter, the Syndicate Operative, Carrion Golem, Stone Golem, Rotting Claws. We got hit so fucking hard. Okay, so let's go through this with you guys. So if you don't know, I do these audio books, and I'll also give my 2 cents on what I think about this. So, as with every new league and expansion release, we're making a variety of balance changes to broaden the number of builds that are competitive in the endgame while lowering the power of specific mechanics that outclass the rest. We've outlined the most important changes below and discussed our reasoning and methodology. Specific values will be available to read tomorrow in the patch notes. Game balance and Path of Exile, Echoes of the Atlas. Ascendancies. Oh yeah, we have Ascendancy ones too. Have they told us the rest of them yet? No, it's just the Balance Manifesto. So in addition to reworking the Elementalist, Inquisitor, and Deadeye, we made several changes to every Ascendancy class. Rather than going over every single change, here are the general philosophies behind the changes. Improve interesting stats on Ascendancies while removing less interesting or less essential secondary stats. This brings these Ascendancies closer to the style and design intent of Path of Exile 2 Ascendancies. That's what I've been saying, where notable passives have fewer stats but are individually more impactful and interesting. For example, Quartz Infusion on the Raider now grants phasing at all times. Huge! And a 15% chance to dodge attacks and spell hits. It's actually not huge because Raider already goes like the phasing jewel. And on kill you'll get phasing permanently, so that's really shit actually. Previously it granted a variety of ways to gain phasing, a damage increase, and a small attack dodge value. Oh, okay, it's just better. Rebalance the power of notables within Ascendancies. We want the choice between notables to be more flexible with power moved away from generic bonuses. For example, Master of Metal has had one additional impale hit and its chance to impale removed as the passive granted too much power, while Inspirational now gives a higher value of aura effect in place of its move speed bonus, so to focus more power on its aura investment. Rebalance the power between Ascendancies to encourage players to re-examine optimal strategies. For example, the Trickster's Escape Artist node provided too large a concentration of offense and defense power for hybrid evasion and energy shield characters, so the chance to dodge spell hits if you have energy shield has been removed, while the attack speed and cast speed per Ghost Shroud has been slightly lowered. The Slayer's Masterful Form node was seldom taken and wasn't providing enough power as it should, even for frenzy charge invested characters, so now grants +1 to maximum frenzy charges instead of charge duration modifiers. Reallocate stats between Ascendancy passives and change the layout or bonuses of the Ascendancy where it would make the Ascendancy more attractive to a wider range of character builds. So they're just explaining the concepts behind all of the changes without actually telling us really. Oh, and then they go into Occultist. Example, the Cold Chaos over time multiply. Yeah, so this is just the stuff we've already seen though. Aura stackers. As new mechanics have been introduced and players have optimized builds, characters use multiple auras. Characters using multiple auras have grown significantly in power, both offensively and defensively. This build's moved above our acceptable top-end level of power. The addition of alternate quality effects on aura gems, which added extra effects to your auras, were a large contribution to this. We made a few radical changes here. Aura's alternate qualities that granted you and nearby allies extra effects have all had significant value reductions. We believe in general case, especially when playing solo, there will still be desirable given the regular quality effects on aura gems provide very little in most scenarios. This is something that will be revisited if the standard quality bonus granted by all auras is changed in the future. Small passive skills on cluster jewels that granted an increased effect of non-curse aura and increased effect of curses now grant 3 from 6 and 5. Holy fuck! That's a huge change. These desirable stats were scarce in the regular passive tree, often requiring large investment to reach each cluster, but they became very accessible when cluster jewels were introduced. After this change, using multiple aura cluster jewels together should be less efficient relative to the regular passive tree. We have also adjusted their closer jewel notable passive Stalwart, Commander, and First Among Equals as they were providing too much accessible aura effect. Oh my god, it's nerfed. Aura stacking. Oh no. Impale mechanics. By using the Impaler Keystone in combination with the Call of Steel skill, Warcry-based characters could deal unreasonably large amounts of damage with a single hit, followed up with Call of Steel. The Impaler Keystone now prevents Call of Steel from removing impales from enemies for 4 seconds after you impale them, similar to how it prevents the enemies being impaled again. This allows builds to retain some interesting interactions, but prevents all damage being completely front-loaded before a boss has a chance to act. For all builds utilizing Call of Steel, the Lord of Steel unique jewel provides 2 large damage bonus from a single item. The Lord of Steel jewels that granted increased reflex damage now grants 20 to 25 increased reflex damage from 40 to 45 to allow players accommodate a new notable passive, Blade Sovereign. This half of the cluster jewel allows players to invest in Call of Steel maximum shards, use speed, damage, and area of effect. Okay, we're finally at minions. What we've been waiting for. I'll probably timestamp this. Minions. Raise Spectres and Golems minion builds usually outclass other minion alternatives and are one of the most optimal mid-investment builds, so we've made some significant reductions to their power. Raised Spectres will now be monster level 72 at gem level 720 and from 76. Have lowered accuracy to roughly match raised zombies at the same monster level and slightly slower monster level scaling past gem 20. In addition, we have made minor changes to the They of Tul Spectre, which no longer grants reduced damage taken to allies and grants slightly less chance to dodge attacks and spells for their Snow Cloak, as this ability was providing more defensive power than some of the most effective player defense skills. I did that. The knife throw skill used by Syndicate Operative is no longer considered a spell, as this created unintended uses by combining both attack and spell supports, Spell Echo, Pinpoint, while ignoring their penalties. All the things we did. This is literally us. Okay, Carrion Golems and Stone Golems have had their damage reduced at all levels. Okay, with Carrion Golems getting the more severe reduction as their power exceeded that of other golem types. Elementalist golem passes in general provide fewer offensive bonuses, in part because the resurrected elementalist now provides effects that can increase damage taken by enemies. This just tilts me, man. That part just tilts the fuck out of me. Yep, it's so excessively so severe, so much extra power. The minion-related cluster jewel notables, Rotting Claws and Renewal have had value reductions as they provided effective damage multipliers at high values. Okay. We've made buffs to the damage of skeleton mages, the speed of unearth, and the offering effect of the Leash of Oblation unique belt, as they were not as powerful as other alternatives. We're dead. My thoughts are, we're dead. This is round... What? How many times is this? 4 now? 5? How many fucking times have they destroyed me? Oh my god, dude. We're dead, dude. We're dead. It's over. There's no coming back from this. We're dead. While lowering the power of specific abilities, we've also improved the power of others that haven't seen the limelight recently to bring them up to a more competitive level. Dude, they killed them. We have buffed more than 40 unrepresented skills. Note that if a particular unloved skill has not been touched, that doesn't mean we've forgotten about it. Rather, that we believe that numerical tweaks alone won't be sufficient to provide the experience the skill could offer, and we're intending mechanical changes to the skill sometime in the future. So here we have patch notes, teasers. Scorching Ray, Cobra Lash, Frost Bomb. Okay. Cast time half. Base mana cost 2 to 5 from 4 to 11. It's half of both. Holy shit. And it applies fire exposure. 5% more damage for each remaining chain. Now converts 60% of fizz from 50 and has been added as there is no longer a stat of this. Oh. Frostbomb has now has an added damage effectiveness of 300% from 200%. What the fuck? 14 to 21 damage, unchanged, up to huge damage, 50% more almost. Frostbomb now gains additional radius as the gem levels. Wow, up to 7. Wow. Earth Shatter now has slightly more variance on the distance spikes appear from the initial slam location, and the explosion radius for spikes has been slightly lowered. The intent of these changes is to reduce the spike explosion overlap, particularly on large single targets. Contagion has had a small reduction to the skill's radius. In addition, in combination with Essence Train, it can consistently be in one of the most efficient skills to clear packs of monsters. Wait, so how's BV not nerfed? Where's Bladefall, Blade Blot? Wait, that's... It's that one, right? It's Call of Steel gets Bladefall, Blade Blast, and then Essence Train Contagion got hit, so the only one that didn't get hit is BV. Flash Charge on critical strike cooldown. The internal cooldown of effects that grant flash charges on crit has been lowered from 0.2 to 0.1, making them a more consistent and effective way to generate flash charges. This change was made as part of improvements to the Master Surgeon, notable on the Pathfinder, but will affect all modifiers that grant flash charges on crit. Okay. Replica Nebulous provided too much damage for a single item, particularly for builds that didn't care much about survivability. Now has 15 to 20% increased cold from 3 to 5. Per 1 missing, up to a maximum of 300, and 15 to 20 increase from 3 to 5. What? Oh, the cap. There's a cap now, up to 300. Wow. Replica Alberon's Warpath now grants per 80 strength instead of 50. It was providing too much. Yeah, it was actually good. People were running Alberon's Warpath and strength stackers. Martyr of Innocence and Disintegrator no longer grants added a damage with spells. Now grants the new Battle Mage keyword instead, which grants added spell damage equal to the damage of your main hand weapon. Nice. Alternate quality changes. Anomalous Arctic Armor no longer triggers when hit effects from reflected damage. This prevent a case where the Anomalous Arctic Armor alternate quality and the hitless unique sword could permanently freeze most monsters in the game. Divergent Plague Bearer no longer grants reduced chaos damage taken while incubating. It provided too significant a defensive bonus, particularly for builds utilizing the Divine Keystone. See, somebody said, "Oh, Plague Bearer does this," and it's like, I didn't know about that. They said it gave reduced chaos damage while incubating it, trying to make me sound like I was stupid because I didn't use it before in my Divine Flesh build, but it wasn't a thing. Heist didn't exist when I did my Divine Flesh build. Divergent Plague Bearer wasn't a thing yet, so now I realize that person flamed me for no reason. Especially when combined with quality enhancing effects, it now causes the Plague Bearer buff to have 0.5 to poison damage over time multiplier while infecting. Anomalous Kinetic Bolt, Plague Bearer, and Scourge Arrow have been lowered in power to be more in line with the power of their other quality effects. Farshot. Farshot has been changed and now causes your projectiles to do 20% less damage at very close range. No penalty, up to 60% more at a range of 70 or greater from 30%. This affects all items that grants Farshot as well as the Deadeye Ascendancy. This makes the choice and playstyle between Point Blank and Farshot a more interesting decision. Cool. Tailwind. The Tailwind buff now grants 8% increased action speed from 10. The intent is to slightly lower the power of the influence modifier while keeping it similarly powerful on the Deadeye. Elemental Aegis to improve the general strength of the Aegis effects as part of adding Primal Aegis to the Elementalist. All Aegis skills, such as the one granted by the Magna Eclipses, no longer have their recharge timer interrupted by damage if the buff is depleted. This makes the Aegis skills a much more reliable defensive mechanic when regularly taking damage. Returning back, I need to still see the rest of the Ascendancies to know what Ascendancy I'm going to go. Aura stacking endgame is dead, so that ruins my plan for the endgame to shit on all the content, which they knew that, so they don't want us just to trivialize the new game, the new content. But I feel like it's still going to be similar. It's just going to be weaker. It's still going to be aura stacking. It's just not going to be much, maybe as much aura effect stacking. We're still going to aura stack, probably, because the auras are still good, the alt quals are still good, but we might not go for 400% aura effect. Anyways, then here, Spectres nerfed. So zombies seem pretty good. My final takeaway at the end, guys, is zombies seem pretty good. Hopefully they didn't hit Rotting Claws too hard, and the renewal. But really, you don't get these until you have Cluster Jewels anyways, and that's pretty far in, honestly. This really doesn't affect our farming. This really just affects our endgame. So they hit our Carrion, our Stone, our They of Tul, Spectres, and our Cluster Jewels. So the zombies look really good now, and it looks like a zombie with Carnage and Host Chieftains, and then you don't run They of Tul because they fucking murdered it. It's nowhere near as good then. It was actually completely broken. It was literally the best defense in the game for what it was, and they removed it. And I abused it in Delving. They probably love that shit. They're like, this is so stupid. He did it. He actually used They of Tul. Yes, it was broken. I was right. Woo! Sticking to my guns. Feels good, man. Either way, this is a pretty interesting balanced manifesto. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming here for the update. I'll obviously, with the patch notes and POB, I'll give you guys a league starter and a build and all that, and build plan and all the stuff for the league. But for now, we continue to wait for the next thing. We have Ascendancies coming up next, probably. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon and my YouTube members who financially support the channel. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys for all the support. And thank you to anyone new who joins the Patreon or the YouTube members today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!